Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. I'd like to welcome in a regular, our next guest, Robin Garceau with Robin Garceau Interiors. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it because we're always tackling different aspects of interiors, and today we're going to talk floor plans.
Yes.
And floor plans, both existing homes and new homes, when you think about furniture and design. And let's start with what you had talked about, a wish list. If you are designing a home and you have the opportunity and you have a sense of what you think it might want to look like, you really have to incorporate what that square footage is, or all of a sudden you might end up with more space than you wanted or less. So let's start with the wish list.
The wish list. I always say to people, if you're going into a custom design build or you're doing a major renovation, you always want to start with the wish list. What do you need and what do you want? So you may need a dining room that seats 12 people. You may need a living room that seats 8 people. So those are the first things that you absolutely need. You need 3 bedrooms, you need 3 baths. You would like 5 baths, but you need 3. So I always kind of say, you know, you need wants and needs and go with the wish list right from the beginning. Because all of those bathrooms and everything, it eats up a lot of square footage. You really don't realize how much square footage you really need once you start counting these up.
And you talk about needs too, because you know you might think bigger is always better, but if you're talking about how many people you anticipate having, and you know the average day-to-day versus perhaps having holidays might be different, but incorporating both of those, because sometimes maybe a big space can seem cavernous if you're not utilizing it to its fullest extent.
Yeah, it's so true. I'm working with a client right now, and you know, she's doing our kitchen, and I'm like, but it's really just 2 of you. So how big of a space do you need? Because maybe the kitchen we kind of reduce a little bit and maybe open up your other area a little bit more to give you more seating in your living room. So people are just used to stuff. And when you really look at what you use on a day-to-day basis versus what you actually, you know, need to have, or what you think you need to have, it's really not, it's nowhere near what you really need. So it depends on where you want to use your square footage. If you want to use more square footage in your family room, use it there and reduce it in your kitchen or reduce it in the bathroom, number of bathrooms, that kind of thing.
And are you still seeing open floor plans still being, or is that trend, are we seeing the kind of the pendulum swinging back again?
Yes and no. People still do like the idea of open floor plans, but one of the spaces I'm working on now, they're coming from you know, an area where they have real rooms. They have a dining room, they have a living room, and they want an open floor plan, but they feel like it's, again, just too cavernous for them. So it's just overwhelming. So we add a little wall here and a little wall there, and we kind of bump out the dining room. So yes, it's open, but they still have some rooms and a little bit of spatial awareness, so it doesn't seem like, okay, it's this wide open space and you have no wall space and you have nothing, you know, your furniture kind of just floats everywhere. So there are ways of mixing a nice open with a little coziness as well.
And so one thing, whether you're doing a custom design build or you have an existing property that you're working with, that you say, especially with floor plans, is just to be cognizant of the room sizes. And we're talking specifically square footage, because when you're thinking about furniture, you really need to know that number.
Yeah. When you're building, or even when you're adding on, you know, you can be up to 4,500 square feet like this. I mean, you can say, oh, I want 4 bedrooms, I want 3.5 bathrooms, and I want a big living room. And before you know it, you literally are close to 5,000 square feet. So I've been in that situation too, where we're like, okay, we have to drop it down a little bit. We have to drop it down. Most people, if you're sitting in your room, you have no idea how big that room is that you're sitting in. Is it 12 by 12? Is it 15 by 15? Is it 22 by 22? So for me, when you're building, or even if you're contemplating building, for me, I'd say, you know what? Look around you and get out the measuring tape. There's a great little device. It's a digital measuring tape, and it shoots a laser beam. You put it on one wall, and it shoots a laser beam over.
You get it.
You get the length, and then you get the width, and it'll give you a much better awareness of square footage.
And something that to think about too with floor plans that you had brought up, if you're thinking of the living room, oftentimes the centerpiece, whether it's a family room or a living room, is the TV and that wall space and where you anticipate having it. And if there's a fireplace, so let's talk about, traditionally where things have been and what to think about in terms of, especially in that family living room area, because if you don't get it quite right, certainly I'm sure you've seen plenty of examples of folks really trying to put that square peg in the round hole.
Again, one of the projects I'm working on, we dealt with just that. The trend has been for quite a while, fireplace with the TV over the fireplace. And there are a lot of people that don't want to be watching their TV over the fireplace. So if you're able to do a custom design build or a major renovation, we say, okay, let's not do the TV over the fireplace. So what we did was I strategized the area in a way where the sofa, we've got two sofas, one is facing the fireplace and one is facing the TV. So now you have the beauty of both. And you're not looking up at the TV over the fireplace, and it's a comfortable situation, but we planned it that way.
So is it sofa, fireplace, TV?
Nope, it's the sofas are perpendicular.
Okay.
The sofas are perpendicular to each other. So if you're sitting in your sofa here, you're facing the TV. If you're sitting in the sofa there, you're facing the TV and the fireplace. So it's done in a way where it's like an L shape, where you get the best worlds.
Best of all
right.
worlds, yeah.
So, but that takes careful planning because you've got to say, okay, we need wall space for the TV. Where are we going to put the window? Where's the door going? Where's the fireplace going to be? That kind of thing. It's really, you have to be very, very meticulous with your planning strategy there. Yeah.
And last thing with floor plans I wanted to touch upon today, as we had discussed earlier, is really thinking about how the outside and the inside interact, and specifically as it pertains to windows.
Yeah.
And light coming in and how, again, what's outside the windows have an impact on what's taking place inside.
Yeah, because you look at the outside plans and they look really beautiful, and then you go on the inside, and the inside, oh my God, it looks great. You're looking at this, and then you realize there's a window in your shower that's all the way over to the left, and now what are you going to do with the tile? Or in one of the situations we kind of ran into, it was already done, so we had to come up with kind of a creative way of using the molding, where in the same room you had one window one side, it was a double window, and another double window on the other side, but one had more space in between. They weren't quite the same, but they would kind of look the same. So the moldings were going to be different, so I figured out a way to make the molding step back. And it looks nice because, okay, now it speaks to each other without being kind of strange. But yet, you end up in those situations, if you don't think of it ahead of time, one was on a side window, a wall, and one was on a front wall. And you just don't think of those things while you're in the throes of it.
Well, I have to say, Robin, having you in and going through piece by piece with houses and what to think of, I think if someone were to string together all of the episodes of talking to you, they would have hired an interior designer, because specifically, breaking down what to really think of. Again, when you're thinking of design, thinking of custom build design, as always, it's a pleasure being able to pick your brain, especially for folks who are considering design in their home. So, Robin Garceau, I appreciate your taking the time to come in today.
Thank you, Kate. I'll see you again soon.
Anywhere. We're going to be right back here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center.